Parents strongly caution the following programs are intended for mature audiences over the age of 18. These programs may contain some material that many parents would not find suitable for children and may include intense violence, sexual situations, coarse language, and suggestive dialogue.
All right, happy motherfucking Friday. Here we are with Bridge the Gap. How you doing, man?
Doing so good. That was a dope intro, man. Like, I was totally entertained through that whole thing.
All right. Welcome to Hell.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna, stroke my ego a little bit. I'm the one that does those. That's actually my band that does the intro.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. So how you guys doing?
Great, man. We're doing great. Bridge the Gap's great. We just got done playing a few shows, taking a little bit of a break. We'll have some more shows coming up in the fall. Then we have a new record coming out in the relatively near future. So we're doing great.
That's awesome.
Okay. So how did you guys even get together? Because I know before the show we were kind of talking about how you guys live in different states and all that. Were you guys ever in one place at one time, or did you meet over the internet?
Yeah. So we all, for the most part, we're all from the same hometown in southern Utah called St. George. And so like we grew up playing in bands together and, high school bands. And where we grew up, it's a real small, kind of sleepy community. And so there were no clubs. There was only one bar in the whole town growing up. So like we'd go out and play kegs, kegger parties out in the dirt, like dirt kegger shows. We just call them keggers, dirt shows. And that's basically what we had to do for a while until we kind of created a scene and things started kind of popping up and whatnot. And we had a serious go of it in our band. It was called Unfold from like 97 to about 06. And all of us were in that band. And then we kind of put it down for a while, started families, careers, settled down a little bit. And a few years back, we just started getting it going again. But we wanted it, how some bands end and whatever, like there's sometimes bad juju and with our old band, it's not so much that there were hard feelings or anything, but we just wanted this to be something different. Like sometimes we get asked, why isn't it Unfold? Because it's the same kind of music. It's basically the same dudes. We just wanted a different kind of vibe. We wanted it to be a different thing. So, but yeah, we go back, some of us almost 30 years now.
Holy shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely. So when you guys were growing up and playing, what was the whole punk rock scene like? Was there a music scene at all? I know you said it's a small town, but was there any other bands? Was there any other genres that are around? Was the punk scene anything there?
So where we lived in St. George at the time, it's about twice the population now, but growing up, there was about 150,000 people. So like it's small in a city sense, but it's big town, small, but it's Mormon village, all right, mentality. So a lot of, a lot of conservative kind of loud music, no good, pierced ears, tattoos, whatever, skateboards, not good. So, the cool thing I'll say about St. George, especially in the 90s, was, there was a music scene, and we kind of helped create a punk scene. We'd bring bands through like Fat Records bands, Epitaph bands. Like we created a scene there. But growing up, like if we wanted to go see a show, before we really had our shit together to where we could bring in bigger bands and stuff and play with them, we'd have to go to either Vegas or Salt Lake. Like, Bad Religion was coming through or something.
Yeah.
We'd go an hour south, hour and 15 minutes south to Vegas, 9 times out of 10 because it was closer, or 4 hours north up I-15 to Salt Lake. And that's basically what it was like. And hasn't really changed much, except not as many local bands from what I understand in our hometown nowadays. So kind of just the way it went.
Right, I got you. So I seen you guys are on a record label. How did that kind of come about? Were you guys found on? Because I mean, record labels now, everybody knows the whole thing of record labels is kind of dying, and the ones that are left are kind of like ma and pa kind of underground labels. Yeah. Some of your big ones, still exist. So did they guys find you at a show? Did they hit you up on the internet?
No, I mean, our album came out. The Bridge the Gap album came out before we'd ever even played a show. Like, but it's because we were veterans. Like we'd played a million shows as kids. It's, we know how to play live is fun, but for us, I had been, here's the Cliff Notes version. We stopped playing in a band, but like I never stopped writing songs. So like I'd have riffs and I'd have songs and I put them together. And then somewhere around like 2021, I started accumulating gear for a home studio, as you can kind of see behind me. Well, I've been accumulating gear my whole life, but like I started accumulating home recording gear, and I wanted to learn how to do that because my idea was just to like record these songs, because I can play drums too, and I'll play basic drums and then like send them to my friends, and that's it. Like that was it. And so that's what I did, and I would send it to, of course, my old bros in the band. And eventually Jeff, our guitar player, and we started getting together to kind of go through songs and this and that. And like, he'd come help me demo and record. And then one day he's just like, we should do something with this beyond just like record the satisfaction of recording it. We should do something fun. And so we concocted this idea to go to the blasting room and try and get one of our like favorite dudes of all time in music, Bill Stevenson, to produce it. And so we reached out to him. And he was down, and so we went and recorded the record. And even then, it wasn't a band yet. It was still kind of more of a project thing. We didn't know what we were going to do. We got our drummer, Ryan, our old drummer from way back, and we weren't even sure it was going to be a band, dude. There's a long-winded answer, but I'm going to get to the point. And once we got the mixes back, we're like, oh, shit, this is legit. We're going to have to actually, like, be a band and, play shows and, like, serve the music to some extent because this is legit. And so I don't know, we recorded the record in the summer of 22, and then by about December I started reaching out to labels, just like Cold reaching out. And people at Punk Rock Records, to their credit, they got back to us and they're like, yeah, this is dope, and put out the record, which was cool because we had no fans, we had no social media followers except our friends and family. And so right out of the gates, it exposed us to a fan base and a community of like-minded punk rock fans and, connoisseurs or whatever. And that was a nice little boost when our album came out.
Right. So you don't really see that very often. The whole record label thing, it really kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth because being in a band, we've dealt with that shit before. And a lot of the times it's like, basically like they're a fucking bank. It's like, we're going to give you money, but you have to do everything else yourself.
Yeah.
you're going to pay us back plus interest. And I've seen so many bands just go fucking bankrupt with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The minute they sign on that dotted line, it's almost like they're signing their own damn death certificate.
Yep. It's true, man. Like, that's especially the old model is, you know, bands would be like, oh, if we can just get signed, and then, you know, a rich record label could pay for us to go to the studio of our dreams and then, like, you know, promote it and distribute it. And for, you know, nowadays most artists and most bands that, you know, they're paying for their own shit as far as recordings.
Yeah.
There are exceptions, certain level of band, yeah, the label's paying for it, but like most bands nowadays, they go record their own, they pay their own way to record their music. And then, like us, like we recorded it, and the deal we had with our label that put it out was very band favorable, right? Like,
Right.
we're the ones that put skin in that game. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're putting a little skin into by, you know, putting us on their platform, so to speak, and like exposing us to their dedicated fans and stuff. So they need to get their end of that, so to speak. But
Right.
it was a no-brainer for us, and I don't think we'll ever stop doing it that way, where we just kind of pay our own way. And, you know, when we were kids, we couldn't afford to do that, right? Like when our old band was rocking and rolling, dude, in the early 2000s, like that sounds nice. And so I get it. Like a lot of kids right now, if they hear this, they're gonna be like, yeah, that sounds cool, dude, but who can afford to go to the blasting room?
Yeah.
I get that. But like, you know, for us, we're in our 40s when we went and did that, early 40s, late 30s. So we had, you know, we rubbed a few shekels together and we were able to afford it. But yeah, it's kind of convoluted, man. Music business is a weird thing.
It really is.
I've heard so many damn stories, and it's been, you know, one right after the other. So have you guys done any like extensive touring yet?
No.
Right.
All regional, like within our kind of the Rocky Mountain area, like Oregon through Colorado, in between, you know, Utah, Oregon. And it's not that we don't want to, it's that, you know, really, like, we all have families, we all have jobs or businesses.
Right.
And for us to go out and tour, I know this sounds harsh, but for us to go out and tour, like it would have to be like, you know, some band we love, you know, was like, hey, we dig Bridge the Gap, and we want you to come do 2 weeks with us in Canada, or we want you to go do 2 weeks. Then it'd be like, all right, let's put some things on hold, you know. But then, because the thing with touring is, you either have to kind of be in the circuit, or like no bands have a booking agent, no bookers. And there's a whole lot of grind and kind of legwork that goes into booking even 6 days, dude. Like even just going for a week. And we just haven't got to that point yet where we feel the need to get out and do that. Like our main focus right now, just being frank, is just play. We're just still enjoying the creating of the music. We're kind of like, not to be cheesy, but like, if you build it, they will come. That's what we're doing. We're just kind of building it right now. Like, we're using the internet to reach people. And, you know, if that at some point dictates that people demand we get out and tour, then we will. But like up to this point, hasn't been that way. You know, us being able to play local and then regional, that's been totally cool enough for us so far.
Yeah. There's not very many bands that'll say that, because mine is the same way. Like we do the same thing. Like me, I'm in South Carolina. I have a guitarist that's in North Carolina. Our vocalist is in Virginia. None of us live in the same damn state.
Yeah.
So for us to play a show, it would have to be worth it.
Right.
Like it's got to be mega worth it, because we all got families, we all got kids. Like it's got to be fucking worth it. But nowadays, with the internet, you can get music out there without having to do all the touring. As fun as the touring is, but it's like it's got to be profitable. And if it's not profitable, there's no point in fucking bankrupting yourself and hurting yourself to do it.
Exactly, dude. And exactly in the 90s and early 2000s, like in the early 2000s, the internet existed, but not the way people understand it today. Like it was message boards and websites. There was no such thing as social media. Email was still barely a thing. And so really, if you wanted to get your music outside of your hometown and you were an unsigned band, let's say, and even if you were a signed band, you had to tour. Like touring was the only, and that's what we did back in the day. We lived in a van, and we would just like be broke as shit and just like grind through the United States and build a fan base that way. And there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat, but one of the good things about the internet nowadays is that you don't have to put that cart before the horse. Like if your music is good, it'll resonate, people will come to it, and over time, you build that up, and if people want you to tour, they'll tell you, there'll be a demand. You'll get offers from festivals, you'll get offers from venues and promoters, and we're just now getting to a point, bridge the gap. And again, we've only existed as a public entity since December of 2022 is like when there was like a press release about Bridge the Gap. And we're just now getting to a point where we get contacted from promoters and festivals or opportunities like that. And we haven't played that many shows. We really haven't played that many shows. We just kind of stand on the music.
Like us, we ain't played none. we're just creating music and doing cool content and music videos and shit like that, and that's it. Yeah. And there's a lot of bands like that. There's a ton of bands like that.
Yeah.
It's like I tell people, I'm like, go out there and like just peruse the internet, because you never know how much music is really out there. Like me and her love going on the internet and just scouring it to find, like, I would have never found y'all if I hadn't done what I do, just looking for it. And I happened to see a sponsored ad. And anytime I see a sponsored ad on Facebook for a band, I always look. I always look and at least listen to a couple of songs. And I listened to like 4 or 5 songs of y'all. So I was like, this band's fucking badass. So I was like, message my damn assistant, was like, you got to bring them on the show, because these guys are fucking awesome and everybody needs to fucking know about it. Like, bottom line. Because it's like, I grew up like, I'm kind of in this in between. Like, I love my metal and I like a lot of like extreme metal, deathcore, but I grew up a punk kid and pop punk.
Yeah,
that was my two things. Like, the first band I was ever in was pop punk band, along with like Blink 182 and all the Offspring and shit like that. So I get really excited when we find good punk bands. Bring them on. Like, I get super excited about it.
Keyword.
Good. A lot of those ads that you see, for the most part, I would guess that a majority of sponsored ads you see are bands sponsoring themselves. Like the one you saw of us, that's us. That's us paying Facebook or Meta or whoever. I think you probably saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, it was.
Make a little for bands out there. It's a great way to reach new audiences. Like, we went from, like I told you, the only people following us on social media when we joined People of Punk Rock Records in December of 21 was our friends and family. And so here we are, coming up on, well, it's been, I guess, 2 years since, 2022, December of 2022, because the album came out in March of 23. Yeah. So a year and a half later, let's just say, and running ads and just being smart. And it helps if you, and I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I like our music. So I'll say, if you have music that people resonate with, what I'm about to say helps, but make a 15-second video featuring, could be like a music video you shot, but take 15 seconds in a vertical format, right? Like, the real format of Instagram or whatever, and blast it. And then just put a little ad together on Facebook. They make it really easy, dude, to actually advertise. You don't need a degree from MIT to figure it out, and get your music out there. It'll ask you like, hey, who do you want to put it in front of? It's like, okay, we want it in front of, people who like Bad Religion, or people who like Pennywise, or people who like NoFX or whatever. And, if you got even $1 a day you can put into it, it adds up. Like for us, it's added up to over 50,000 followers in 18 months.
Nice.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So let's get into some of the fun questions now that we got all the technical shit out of the fucking way. If you guys could tour with any 3 bands of your choice, dead or alive, would it be?
Man. Oh, that'd be tough. That's tough, dude. That's tough. I mean, I could just go straight fanboy and say my favorite bands, but like I never saw Bad Religion. Like growing up, my two favorite bands were Bad Religion and Pennywise.
Okay.
I never saw them tour together. I saw them on Warped Tour, so that doesn't really count, you know, where they were both on Warped Tour. But we were on Warped Tour 2 of those years. But I would say I'd love to tour with Bad Religion. It'd be fun to tour with. Well, I don't know about tour, but like there's a band that from Sweden. You know, we were talking about In Flames before we went live, right? Like the metal band, and you know, there's that whole Gothenburg metal scene and all that, but there's also like a killer skate punk, melodic punk scene from back in the 90s. And one of my, well, the best band of that genre, in my opinion, in Sweden was called No Fun at All. And they're still going, you know, they're getting up there, but they're still going. So I'd like to maybe tour Europe. You know, if I had a, you know, a lamp, I could rub the lamp and the genie comes out, tour Europe with No Fun at All.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be dope. And I don't know, maybe like Ramones. How rad would it be to tour with Ramones? All the original Ramones are dead now, but that'd be dope.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Damn, none of them are alive anymore?
Not the OGs. Tommy was the last one.
Okay.
And then he was the drummer. He passed, but Joey's passed, Johnny's passed, and Dee Dee, the original four. But, you know, I think the most notable guy who's still, you know, that people will actually give credit, like the Ramones actually got enshrined in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And Marky Ramone, who is their longest tenured drummer, he's in the hall. So he's still alive, but also CJ Ramone. He didn't get to be a part of the enshrinement, but he was the guy that took over for Dee Dee in the 90s. He's still going. He's in his own band. He's got his own like solo band, and he plays bass in that punk cover band, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
Okay. Gotcha. So if you could play any festival, which one would it be?
Oh man, I would say there's two that would be maybe the dream. One would be here in the States and pretty close to home for us, would be Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas.
Okay.
And then Punk Rock Holiday in Europe. I want to say it's in Slovenia. I'm going to sound like an idiot because I probably never went to geography class. Like I probably sloughed every single one of those classes, but those are the two. That'd be the dream probably.
I got you. So how do you feel about the mainstream festivals that are out there and as far as like putting punk rock bands on these mainstream festivals, stuff like Welcome to Rockville and Aftershock and, you know, Rock on the Range and Incarceration? Like, do you feel like they should put more punk rock bands on there? Do you feel like there's room for punk rock with all these metal and metalcore and shit like that?
It's pretty tough because I don't know, culturally, you know, punk rock can get a little elitist. You know what I mean? Like if their favorite band is on a bill with a bunch of metalcore bands, like it can get lame. I hate that kind of thing for what it's worth. Elitism, like when it comes to music, if it's good, it's good. You know, a band might not be your forte or whatever, but like if they're good dudes or good people and they're putting on a good music with a good message, like let them do their thing. But I don't know, dude. I'm probably not the best one to answer that question, just to be honest, because I only go to punk shows and punk festivals. Like I dig non-punk music like metal. We were talking about In Flames. Like two of my favorite bands of all time are not punk bands, In Flames and Deftones. And I love those bands, but like Deftones, I probably saw 39 million times from 1995 through like 06. No lie.
Like, the Deftones have my heart. That's one of my favorite bands. I love the Deftones.
It's like, as Chino Moreno, in my opinion, is the greatest vocalist in rock history. Like that's how much I love that cat. But I don't know, dude. I saw one time on an Aftershock, like Bad Religion played Aftershock. It's like, hey, that's cool. And if people are complaining about that, then they need to find better shit to do.
I like it because it breaks up the monotony. Like I don't want to, like, to me, like I like going to festivals that have whole wide range of variety of within the rock genres, whether it's metal, punk rock, whatever. And everybody knows that everybody broke metal down. There's like 50,000 fucking subgenres now.
Yeah.
There's subgenres that I'm still fucking hearing.
I don't know what nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. There's genres that I hear the kids talk about nowadays. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. No.
I like how he said it down there. If good music is good music.
Well, yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Punk's got a million different subgenres too, dude. Like it's hard to keep it all straight, you know?
I mean, I even like the fact that they're throwing in like some hip hop because, like, you know, I've been to Welcome to Rockville where they've had Tech Nine playing and Jelly Roll and Yellow Wolf, and you've got hip hop, you've got metal, you've got, you know, your standard like radio rock, and they've had punk rock, and I like that because there's something there for everybody. And if you're like, okay, you know what, I don't want to listen to this band, I've heard them a million times, but I could go over here and check out this brand new band I've never heard of, because that's how I found out about Ghost. I'm a huge Ghost fan. Didn't know them, had no idea. I was working for another radio station. I was doing photography down in Jacksonville, and I just decided to stay because I looked up. It was like, I remember Testament was playing one stage, and fucking balloon. Anyway,
Testament cues the balloons, dude.
Fucking balloons. Testament was playing on one stage. The other stage was, who the fuck was it? Anthrax, which I was like, I've seen both these bands 50,000 fucking times.
Yeah.
And then Ghost, and I was like, I'd never even heard of these guys. I'm gonna fucking stay and watch, and I'm glad I did because they were fucking awesome.
Cool.
And I have found out so much shit about, you know, bands like that at these fucking festivals and doing the multi-genre rock thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like punk rock has never really been given that like respect at these. Like you see like bands like The Offspring and Green Day and blah blah blah, and
right.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of punk guys come back and go, well, Green Day's not real punk rock. Offspring's not real punk rock. I've heard it 50,000 times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they'd beg to differ. Like Green Day started at Gilman Street and Offspring started on the biggest independent punk label in the world, Epitaph. Like those are punk bands. Like they may have changed and morphed a little bit over time, but they're punk bands. But you know, the Warped Tour used to be like that. It started off as like straight punk bands, right? And in the like the first 2 or 3, maybe 4 years. And I remember my band one time, was it 01 or 02? Our old band, we played on Warped Tour. And the 1 year we played, Eminem was on the tour, and it was like right when Slim Shady was breaking. And they started like just kind of bringing in other pop but alternative forms of underground music that was kind of blowing up. And I remember like, well, the next year we were on it, Black Eyed Peas was on it, you know, like pre like superstar rock star Black Eyed Peas, like right before they popped into becoming what they became. And
before like, first meth addiction.
I don't even know what that means, dude. But yeah, I don't know. I discovered a lot of cool bands in those days, like, you know, and artists and whatnot. But like when I go out, or if Bridge the Gap's playing, you know, it's mostly bands on our level or whatever. If I go out to a show, it's always going to be just like one of my favorite bands is coming through, so I'm going to go see them. And invariably, it's of course a punk rock band, but Deftones, I'm gonna catch the next Deftones. I've seen them a million times, but I haven't seen them for like 15 years.
Yeah, the bad thing is the Deftones is one of my all-time favorite bands, all time, and I've never got to see them play. Still to this day, I have never got to see the one time. The one time I got close, and I went to the festival. 15 minutes before they were due on stage, a big ass fucking storm came through, and they canceled the fucking set, and I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken.
Dude, twice in my life, I've been in pits where like I was honestly not sure I'm gonna survive. Like just brutal, out of control, whack job mosh pits. Believe it or not, one of them was at an Offspring show at the House of Blues in Vegas when they played Self-Esteem. It was gnarly. But anyway, the other one, though, was way before that at a place called the Huntridge Theater in Vegas, like 1990. They were touring for around the first, so like 97, 98, Deftones. And they played that song Root off their first record. And dude, when the drums came in on that, it was like, I'm gonna die. Like boom, just explode, dude. It was crazy. But really good memories, fun times.
Hell yeah. On that, I actually have a story about the Offspring that I'll share, but we're gonna go to a quick commercial break and we will be right back. All right, and we are back. Crazy, because you say the Offspring was one of the craziest ones you ever been in, same as mine. So I went to Music Midtown, and I guess this was 2006, 2007. So it was Music Midtown. They had like 5 stages in downtown Atlanta. And every stage was themed. There was like rock, there was a hip hop stage, there was a country stage, there was a multicultural stage. Don't know what the fuck that was, didn't go to it. But then they had another stage that was like EDM and dance stuff. So obviously I was at the rock stage. And that day was just intense because the very first band up was Hole. And Courtney Love came out and played the whole goddamn set naked. Butt naked.
What?
she did. She got her butt naked, play the whole damn thing. After that was Filter. Some of the other bands that we seen. One of my other favorite bands, Story of the Year. Story of the Year played a fantastic set. Foo Fighters played that day. Green Day played that day. Well, then the fucking Offspring was the headliner for that night, and it was a Thursday night. Storm came in, no real lightning or thunder, nothing, because they didn't end it, but it was just pouring rain. How the hell it happened, I don't know. But all I know is they went into the first song, and by the end of that shit, I'd never seen so many mosh pits and so many naked people in my entire life. Like, everybody left half naked or completely naked. By the time clothes were being fucking ripped off, shit was fucking flying everywhere. And by the time I left, I was in boxers and one sock.
You didn't survive unscathed either.
I got out was one fucking.
Damn. You sure this was a concert?
I know this is kind of odd here.
And it was back as like we got done, and we start walking back, and I'm embarrassed. I'm like, fucking, where's a trash bag? Like I need to like cover myself, something. And fucking like everybody's like fucking naked. And there's this big dude sitting on the fucking side, and he comes up and he starts talking to us. And he was like, man, that was the craziest shit I ever seen. And we're talking to him, and my buddy with me, he's like, you look awfully fucking familiar. And he was like, yeah, I get that a lot. He's like, no. Turns out that guy was the drummer of the Wallflowers.
Oh, wow.
We ended up going and hanging out with like half the band of the Wallflowers, which didn't even play the fucking show, and got drunk with them and had a great time. But that was the most insane show I'd ever been to, ever seen, was the Offspring. Like it was just fucking insanity.
They put on a hell of a show back in the day, dude. You know, they really did. I'll give them that.
I mean, it was fucking crazy. And I've seen Green Day. I've seen a lot of those guys that came out around that same era, because it was like back then you had, for all y'all that are younger, you didn't get to experience the glory days of MTV. Because I was a diehard MTV kid. That's all I watched all day, every day. And there was that era that you had a lot of punk rock and pop punk and new metal. That was the three things that just took over the fucking airwaves. Because, like, Green Day came out around the same time. Offspring was out around that time.
Yep.
You had Blink 182 coming out. You had so many fucking of those bands from punk rock to pop punk that were coming out that were just blowing it up. And their shows were fucking intense. Like half these metal bands couldn't keep up with the fucking punk rock bands.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, dude. 90s were a beautiful time. Like, oddly enough, like I love Green Day to this day. Not so much their newer stuff, but I still dig like classic Green Day. They're one of the only bands I've never seen live. But I mean, Offspring, Green Day, they broke in '94, and I still remember that come out and play music video. But that's how, for people who live today on social media, like our generation in the 90s, like you would hear about new music either on MTV, mostly MTV, or if you happened to live in a market that had a good radio station. And then other than that, it was like going to shows, and like in the punk scene, it was, good. There were some good zines that you could subscribe to and pick up, and, especially depending on where you live geographically. But I remember one time, 97, I went and saw Pennywise for probably the 100 millionth time at a place called Wolf Mountain in up by Park City, where they had the 2002 Winter Olympics. So this predates that, but Pennywise was the big headliner. There was probably like 2,000 people there. And this band opened that nobody had ever heard of. And they were this 3-piece. This was in like January, February, 97. And they're up there just cracking jokes. And the girls, you could tell, love these dudes. And they're just up there goofing off, having a good time. Funnier. Like I laughed more than I was like digging their music. And we're playing 82 from San Diego, adios. And they get off the stage. And then like a month later, the music video for that song, Damn It, Dan, hits. And then like they're never opening for Pennywise ever again. Like Pennywise is opening for them, Bad Religion for them. And then they just shot off to the races. But like that was 97. That was a long time ago, dude. That was almost 30 years ago.
Yeah. And God, that makes me feel old shit.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, yeah.
I'm like, can we just not? Can we skip this part? But like I really wish that they would fucking bring MTV back, because I think MTV was a big pusher of that whole punk rock movement. And then after MTV, it's become exceedingly fucking difficult.
Well, YouTube, now you'd have, if you were MTV and you wanted to genuinely bring back the glory days that the three of us remember, MTV would have to make an app. And then all bands and labels would suddenly have to care about having their stuff on MTV on the app. Cause like they were gatekeepers back then. Like if you were a label or a band and you wanted your artist to pop, man, like MTV was the guarantee. Like if you got on 120 minutes, if you're an alternative band, a punk band, a metal band later, Alternative Nation. What was the metal? Headbangers Ball.
Headbangers Ball.
You got in on any of those, your life was going to change forever,
Drastically, yeah.
So yeah, now it's just about YouTube, and it's well, I mean, that's where the music videos live, right? Is YouTube, but it's cracking the algorithms on TikTok and Instagram, and like, man, it's oddly like it's oddly more simple for artists to get and easier to get your music out there, and at the same time like infinitely more difficult, because like you were talking about Spotify and getting on and finding bands, and sometimes it can be overwhelming, the volume of music that's out there to just chilling right at your fingertips at any point. And one of the good things I'll say about the old way, like the radio station gatekeepers, the MTV gatekeepers, the record stores, all that is you know, if it was on there, tastemakers, you know, you could probably trust it was okay. Not always. Like I'm talking like alternative music. Like most of the time, it's like, okay, this is actually pretty good. Sometimes, you know, like presidency of the United States of America or something, you'd be like, really, this shit is on MTV right now, or whatever. But now it's like, that's why for bands to stand out, there are still some gatekeepers, and like if you can get your music in a specific publication or featured here or there, it could be a force multiplier. But that's why nowadays it's even more important, like stand on your music. You know, if you've got good music, then the rest kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know when I started Hellfire, I wanted it to kind of, my dream goal was to kind of become a new MTV and help, you know, bands get out there, help them get seen. And we've had everything from the smallest of small bands on this show to the biggest. Like, you know, Memorial Day, we had Bumblefoot, who was the guitarist for Guns N' Roses for fucking 8 years, and
nice,
had the biggest to, you know, the smallest. But it's all about getting those names out and getting that stuff out, because like if you don't have stuff like that, you're never gonna fucking find it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it has become infinitely more difficult because how many bands are really out there? There's a bajillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Everybody's
they're all uploading their shit to YouTube. All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And your competition has went, like, I feel like the competition was a little bit smaller back in the day compared to what it is now. The competition now is just fucking vast.
Well, and back then it was more regional. Like your competition were like the bands in your market, you know, like that's who you were competing with. Even if you were getting out there and touring like our old band would do. Now it's the world. You're competing against the either the best of the best in the world or the worst of the worst, depending on what end of the spectrum you're at, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I heard rumors of them trying to, and I know there's been other stations that tried to come out. Actually, I found a station the other day that they actually had a punk rock 2-hour spread every day.
No.
And it was like, God, what was it called? I accidentally fucking found it on like the live stations on Roku. And I went on there and it was like nothing but music videos, but everything was themed like 2-hour blocks. But they had a 2-hour block of fucking punk rock music videos.
Nice.
And I sat there and watched the whole damn thing and found like 5 new bands that I'd never even fucking heard of.
Sick.
But nowadays it's all about fucking marketing. It's marketing, how much money you're willing to put into yourself, and a lot of times who you know.
That always helps. That can always be helpful. But that's the exciting thing about being a band nowadays is like if you're stoked on your music, and obviously you are, or else you wouldn't be in your band and you wouldn't be out there putting the music out. But like you can, you know, Facebook, Instagram for us has been really huge in terms of driving listeners and building fans. And we're not as like versed on TikTok. I'll be honest. Like maybe I'm a little too close to the boomer age. I don't know. Like I need to grab my kids and have them teach me something about TikTok. But like Instagram, yeah. I don't know, but Instagram's been good to us and Facebook, you know, and don't be afraid of doing ads. Like I'm on this podcast talking to these awesome people because of an ad on Facebook that we paid for ourselves. We made and paid for ourselves as a band. Like, you know, if it exposes your music to new people, then so be it. That's great.
There's people like me that peruse Facebook, and I'm not a big social media guy. I don't post a lot. About the only thing I post on my personal page is shit with me and my wife or my fucking show, and that's about it. That's about the only thing I post. But I do peruse on there and just kind of look, and I don't do the reels like a lot of people do. Yeah. I am literally on there looking for sponsored ads for bands. Yeah. That's literally what I do. And even before I had Hellfire and I had a radio station, I had a show, I still did that because I really like hearing new stuff. Because it's like you sit there and you get on mainstream radio and you're just listening to the same bands, the same songs over and over, countless hours, all day, every day.
Yeah.
And before long, you do get burnt out. And you're like, I want to hear something else. So it's like I do like Amazon Music a lot because I got on Amazon Music and I could put one band in, and all of a sudden it starts playing. I found a lot of new bands doing that.
Huh.
I mean, I found a lot of new punk rock bands doing that from overseas, here, fucking everywhere. Just putting in, like, I've got a radio station I got that's just Pennywise because Pennywise is one of my top fucking favorite punk rock bands. I'll put Pennywise in, and it just plays anything that I guess whatever algorithm they have,
Right.
it matches it. And I've heard all kinds of bands that I have never fucking heard of before.
That's cool. Yeah, Spotify, they have a feature like that too, except I think you have to have the setting correct on like you have to like click a box on Spotify, or else like when your album's over, whatever you're listening to, it'll just start the album over again. But if you have the box unchecked, then it will play something like what that artist or band is you're rocking to or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. So let's get into some more fun shit. All right. This is always a thing. I know you're fucking looking at me because you know what question I'm about to ask, so don't even start your shit.
Yeah.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Hell no, dude.
Oh God, you're killing me.
My wife would beg to differ. She likes it. Now, I'm not an absolutist in that sense, like to each their own, but like I don't typically like sweet with savory. I don't like that mix. If it's savory, I want savory. If it's sweet, I want sweet. But I don't begrudge anybody, what they like, to each their own.
Okay. All right. Favorite ice cream.
It makes me sound old, but I actually discovered butter pecan not too long ago. Good. I love that shit. I love butter pecan. It used to be orange sherbet or rainbow sherbet, but butter pecan, I'd have to say.
Okay. Yeah, butter pecan good. Black walnut is another good one too. That's a little older.
Black walnut?
Yeah, you should try that one.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So we actually got because during my day job, I'm actually a property manager on an island here in South Carolina. I live on a small island, but I work on a much bigger one. I work on a resort. I'm a property manager, and I take care of big $1 million mansions out there.
Wow.
And they've got a little shop that makes handmade ice cream. And they actually have a bourbon butter pecan. That's killer. But
sounds tasty.
Hands down, me and my wife both have the weirdest taste in ice cream. I love peppermint ice cream. I don't know why. I've always loved it ever since I was a kid. Like I was born in Oklahoma and grew up in Oklahoma until I was like 15. And this place called Brahms, it's like a family-owned restaurant. It's all through Oklahoma and like northern Texas and some Kansas, and that's it. But they have their own farm ice cream, and they had a peppermint ice cream, and I fucking love it. And every time I tell people I like peppermint ice cream, they're like, "That's fucking gross." I'm like, Just try it. It's amazing.
I'll check it out, dude.
Got the chunks of peppermint in there. It's fucking good. It really fucking is.
I'll check it.
All right, Lindsay, or what? All right, Mojo, what you got? I know you got some fucking questions. I've been running my mouth for 50 fucking minutes.
Well, I know. We were talking about ice cream. Which snack? If you're going to be on the road, right? What's your like pre-game snack? People like all kinds of different stuff.
Oh man, I'm like so ritualistic. I don't eat that much during the day. My danger zone is bedtime snacking.
Me too.
That's how I keep my dad bod up. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta make sure you know.
Yeah. But I would say, geez, man, by the time I'm like in the mood to munch something, it's anything carbs. But what I like lately, I've been eating this. There's this brand of yogurt. I'm like addicted to it, and the brand's everywhere. It's called Noosa, but only at Walmart do they have the pumpkin flavor Noosa. Oh man, it's like, at least at where we live, in our neck of the woods, Walmart.
Yeah.
That right now I would say is my snack of choice.
All right.
But it's got like, people go, oh, yogurt, it sounds all like healthy. Well, this shit has like 40 grams of sugar in it. Like,
You're like, this is the
Yeah.
best, healthiest thing I've ever ate.
yeah, if this is health food, I'm here for that.
Yeah, mine's anything with peanut butter. Anything that has fucking peanut butter.
Yeah, me too. I love peanut butter.
These fucking peanut butter M&Ms,
Yeah.
Nutter Butters, fucking
Yeah, Nutter Butters, dude.
yeah.
I've been on a Doritos kick lately. The spicy Thai Doritos, for some reason, has just hit the spot lately.
Spicy Thai
Yeah,
Doritos.
I've never even heard of that. I'll check it
Me
out. I'll look for it.
Heck yeah, it's a purple bag. Mmm.
I've seen the purple bag that's the spicy nacho Doritos.
Nope.
Spicy.
Not the-
Spicy Thai.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I got you. So I know you've done some touring, and especially in your younger years, what is the worst food that you ever had to eat on tour?
Oh, dude. Oh, man. I mean, honestly, a lot of like rider food, venue food. I've gotten sick off of venue food more times than I could count. Like mozzarella sticks one time from a venue. I don't eat mozzarella sticks anymore because of that. It's not that I don't like mozzarella sticks, but I won't. If I'm like, unless I fully, absolutely trust where it's coming from, I won't eat mozzarella sticks anymore. But I don't know, man. I've had a lot of bad culinary experiences. But when we're on the road, we're just kind of grabbing what we can get, in between here and there. Like, definitely not eating right. You know what I mean? It's hard to eat right when you're traveling like that. But that's what comes to mind for me one time is these mozzarella sticks tasted fine going down. Coming out, not so much.
Mozzarella sticks too. You really got to fuck that one up.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
They must have like left them out or something. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, one of my worst ones is I was on tour and we went and I didn't ask. I should have asked. And this was a very valuable lesson. Our guitarist goes in and buys a bunch of fucking food. And he had it in the refrigerator. I didn't think to ask where it came from, whether it was a gas station or what. I just reached in there and I was like, hey, is anybody going to eat this? They were like, no, you can go ahead and have it. It ended up being gas station sushi.
Oh, harsh.
Oh, that was one of the sickest that I have ever been in my life. Other than that, and I'm like you in a sense, I got the worst food poisoning I think I ever got. And it was right at the end of tour. I think we did one show and we were on our way home, thankfully. Like we had no more shows and we stopped to eat. It was Subway. It was a meatball sub. And I got so sick that it put me in the fucking hospital.
Wow.
It was that bad. And then we got visited by the fucking, like the damn disease control people.
Damn.
It was like 75 cases within 2 days. And it was all this meatball subs from this damn Subway that was like outside of like Detroit. And it was fucking horrible. Like I couldn't keep nothing down. Water, ice, anything, nothing. I was getting rid of everything. Like I was so dehydrated. I was in the hospital for fucking 3 days. 3 days off that shit. And I still to this day cannot stomach. And I used to love meatball subs. Like that was my shit, was a good meatball sub. I can't even see it. I want to see it. I want to look at it. I want to nowhere near it.
I don't blame you.
Harsh, dude. That's I'm gonna think twice about eating sushi from anywhere now.
Yeah, dude.
And meatballs. Meatball subs. Duly
It's
noted.
scary. That's why I eat at home most of the time.
Same here.
That was bad. All right. So since we're nearing the end, where do you guys like to chat with fans? And where do they want you to go? Where can they find your music, merch, anything like that?
Best way to stay in contact with us is on our Facebook page or our Instagram. So on Facebook, it's just at Bridge the Gap Punk, I think. On Instagram, it's at Bridge the Gap Band. So easy to find us. And, you know, all the applicable links. If you want to get merch, it's always on the profile. You know, just there's the links are there. Or check us out on Spotify. If you like melodic punk that's, you know, kind of fast and technical, but not too technical. You know, our thing's more like a genuine like songwriting and trying to, I don't know, trying to get back to the art of that, so to speak, in punk rock. And so if you like that, if you check out Bridge the Gap.
All right. So we're at the end. We love you guys. Please join us next fucking Friday. We've got Hourglass that's going to be on with us next Friday. Please go check out Hellfire Radio. You can actually just Google it, Hellfire Radio. You can listen. We are 24/7 radio station. We've got Rock Assault Radio show that is now brand new on Hellfire that airs on Thursday night. So check out Rock Assault Radio show. We are every Friday night. We've got a ton of shows that are all throughout the week. Check us out, facebook.com/Hellfire Radio 666. We love you guys. Please go check out Bridge the Gap.
Yes.
Go give them a like. Go follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Go buy their shit. On that, we are out of here. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.